Hi everyone, Day here, and welcome back to another episode of my The Greatest Attorney Chronicles Let's Play. Today's episode is going to be a totally new, I won't say original, that's where I was going with it, but we're going to get a new case today, or a new adventure, I should say, today. I just realized, but Sholmes didn't make an appearance at all during that trial, which I guess I already kind of knew at some point wouldn't happen, but it kind of threw me a bit that we didn't get even a glimpse of the man, the myth, the legend himself. So wonder if he's gonna make a comeback in this particular new episode. However, the McGilded case, if there ever was a case that made me feel like I was literally riding a roller coaster, that would be the case. I felt like one of the dang jurors. Like, it was an up, down, and around case. And so, can I really blame them for feeling as wishy-washy as they did? Probably not. But with all that said, I will hop into it. I have no idea what happens if I press continue and start playing from this save game data. I'm just gonna press select adventure. Select adventure. Should be able to pick this one. Episode number 4, The Adventure of the Clouded Cocoro. So, by the looks of it, I'm not getting much at all. Like, I mean, this one has the Omnibus on the front cover. And we were on the ship. And we were in the dining room. So let me look at this one again. If anything, it looks like we're going to change location quite a bit. I see a study. Maybe 2 different studies. There's a road. And it looks like the Chief Justice's place down off in the bottom left-hand corner. So, yeah, it seems like we're going to see quite a few different things. Oh, wow, I did not know it was like this. Opening? Okay, I was going to do it from that direction, but you know what? I'm just going to press continue. This should bring me back to where I need it to be anyway, so. Okay. The Adventure of the Clouded Cocoro.
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening. To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
Whoops, I forgot to turn this back on. I said, oh, so it looks like someone's gonna get stabbed in the back, maybe. It seems like a lot of the Sherlock Holmes cases actually are portrayed as the next case, trial, however you wish to look at it. 19th February, 9:47 a.m., British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. So this is our first stop. Makes sense. Not sure I trust the Chief Justice, because he was the one that put us on that trial, correct? So I don't know if there was any ulterior motive towards him doing so, but trusting him is not my highest priority anymore. Plus, he reminds me of Chief Gant, and if you've played Ace Attorney, then you know about Chief Gant, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo? No, not at all. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? How did you find an enormous hotel? The rooms were so luxurious, I felt like we were staying in a palace. And and with all the gaslights twinkling, it was brighter than day, that even in the middle of the night. What about the enormous beds? At my time on the SS Bureau, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. What did you do? Make snowmen or something? I mean, snow angels. I spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except when I learned that we owed £3 for the room, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Ooh. I am not familiar with the average value of a pound. But then again, this is also earlier time, so I'm not speaking about pounds of today. I'm speaking about the value of the pound in whatever year this is supposedly portrayed in. Oops, sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance so inviting. I just wandered in without thinking. In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money will put a roof over your head for a whole year. Well, I suppose she clarified that. Thank you, Susato. Oh my gosh, for a whole year? £3 is enough currency in Japan to lodge a person for a year. Holy man, that's crazy. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill. This is all Ryunosuke's fault. He only accepted a couple of Gena from the dang McGilded. All because of some stupid masculine pride. I'm joking. Not really. He did turn down McGilded. That is not a lie. Ugh, I really am sorry. Yeah, apologize it up. Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodging straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. Ugh, London is a scary place. Ah, good morning to you at this early hour. I still don't know how I feel about this olive green coat he's wearing. It's definitely not a Von Zieks look. That's for sure. Von Zieks looks nice. Oh, yes. Well... Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. Susato-san is amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart. Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices. Oh yes, it was very eye-opening, thank you. And in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end. Yes, I've already been apprised of events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. Oh, I have no idea if I trust this gentleman. He lives in a clock tower. Like I said, this is very Bravely Default, where an enemy of us lived in a freaking clock tower. So I don't know. Clock towers and villains make for, I don't know, some kind of bad remedy. No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. Just like that. Congratulations, Ryunosuke. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land. Thank you very much. So, I'm a lawyer now? Just like that? No bar? Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem. Another case? Already? I can't tell if this guy is supposed to be like some kind of play off the White Rabbit. Like he's always worried about time, and then you had the... Not McGilded. What was another... Oh, the guy that was talking about hatters, and he kind of went a little mad, like the Mad Hatter. So, I don't know. Is this a little bit like Alice in Wonderland in some kind of instance? Was Alice in Wonderland written by a British person? I'm not sure. Another case already? Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure. I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I? It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it. What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for? Oh my gosh. It's not that black and white. We cleared him, yes. But we have lingering doubts within ourselves based off of the ethics with which he got off. That's what.
The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer judgment.
Well, Lord Van Ziegs, it has been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. Oh no. Oh, I do not miss him. In fact, I hate that I have to voice him still. I just can't help wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent. Look at him opening his watch. He doesn't want to talk about this. And Susato is still like, I see that. I mean, considering the time period and characterizations and stuff, I can understand why she feels this way. But Ryunosuke is going through a moral compass dilemma. Okay, he's trying to figure out if the fact that he won isn't the end all be all. He wants the truth. He searches and yearns for the truth. Mr. Naruhodo, it's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. And then the trial ended.
Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer.
Sorry? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart?
Madness McGilded passed away immediately following the trial.
I freaking knew it! Okay, so... but then again, I also said that if he did pass away, there is a firm chance, based off of that sentence we got right beforehand with the inspector, I guess it was. The inspector said, why was anyone in here in the first place before we got here, right? However, someone called McGilded earlier than even McGilded thought he was supposed to be there, right? So therefore, it sounds like even McGilded didn't even know anything about it. Which makes me believe that someone lured him to the omnibus, stuck him in there, locked him in there, and set it aflame and murdered him that way. Because we know for sure he got there earlier. So it's just, who would have done that, and how did they have the opportunity? Like, why were they able to do that is the question. And that's where I'm confused, because I'm guessing it may be a person we have not been formally introduced to. No. What? Mr. McGilded is? Is that, or he faked his death and he will appear at a very later point? But I'm starting to think that no, somebody offed him because they needed him dead. What? Mr. McGilded is dead? This is the thing about death. All the money and all the riches he had means nothing because he can't use it anymore, so.
I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement.
His time is not going to matter either under such conditions. And he's always keeping count of that. Converse. Yeah. Wait, last time I did not look around in this place, and I wanted to. They wouldn't let me. This must be the Lord Chief Justice's desk. I believe it's made of marble. It looks more like an over-the-top tombstone that's toppled over to me. I think that's your fanciful imagination at work again, Mr. Naruhodo. It feels like everything that's normally made of wood and paper at home is made of bricks and stone here. I know. That's why this place feels so overbearing, I'm sure. Okay, and then I also wanted to check out like these clock gears. Is this some kind of clock? They're not in Big Ben, I'm sure. Actually, I think we might be inside some sort of giant clock. But those gears are larger than anything you'd find on a steam locomotive even. It's eerie. Do you think clocks are some sort of hobby of his? The Lord Chief Justice, I mean. Well, boys do enjoy fiddling around with machines, don't they? I'm not sure you could fiddle with clocks that size, and I'm certain you could call him a boy. Still, it's amazing how little noise the cogs make, considering how large they are. There's actually something quite soothing about their precise rhythm. Okay, I think that's enough. I'll converse with him. I don't understand what happened. How can he be dead? After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom. I do recall that. Yes, of course. That was the scene of the crime which Mr. McGilded had been accused of. Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames. No. How could such a thing have happened? That is being investigated as we speak, but already the police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of Mr. McGilded. That's awful. The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. That, or someone put him in there, and I really feel like he was murdered. He was murdered in kind, is my theory, and I'm gonna stick with it for the time being, unless something changes. Right now, that's my gut feeling, based off of the information we were presented with. That bailiff really needs to pay more attention. And how could that have happened? That is also being investigated as we speak. Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilded did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus. However, he also said that he was called to look at it a lot earlier than he had even imagined. Let's not forget that part. Well, I must be making tracks now. It's time for the inspection. Sorry, what inspection? See, they missed that part. He said that before he explained this. They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. An inspection of the omnibus? Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage. Maybe not examining it then, but I do remember that there was an inspector, wasn't there? So what's his story? Was he just there to claim the evidence? I don't know. But then who was Mr. McGilded talking about? Never mind that now. The yard is making a thorough investigation. It's not your concern anymore. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police. Poor Mr. McGilded. She really believes he was innocent. I feel like if he was murdered, there is way more to Mr. McGilded than meets the eye. He was probably like one of the leaders or followers of a really deep and dark, I don't even know, group of people or something. It's hard to say. It is just strange that he would be dead. So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was, wow. He's like, Mr. Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old. Wow, Susato-san has such weird words. You actually do too, Ryunosuke. You just probably don't recognize it yourself. But when you were in court, you sparkled and shine. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones. No, let's not do Ryunosuke like this. He, in the right context or place, he's great at what he does. Like, when I'm comfortable, I'm great. Especially when I have a pen and paper. This whole speaking to the public thing and speaking out loud, I am... Whew. I'm still not really used to it, but I am a lot more comfortable than when I first started. That's for sure. That much I can admit. The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can. The most advanced in the world, is it? It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair. Who is he speaking to? What do you mean simple? What do you... It was not a simple affair. There were points in that trial that made me dizzy. And then it was like, even afterwards, I still don't even fully know what happened or transpired. Simple. That was simple. I agree with Susato. As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose. He did mention that yesterday morning. Well, you know, not yesterday. Whatever, you know what I mean. But it's like, it was a trial you could not lose. Huh. I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Shronkai, but the case was anything but simple. What does he mean it was a case we could not lose? This guy, I don't trust him. He's hiding something too. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating. I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Okay, yeah, creepy dark laughs and you're not even smiling. Not creepy at all. Is something funny? No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that can only be attributed to the exceptional talent. Wouldn't you agree? You said it was a case we could not lose. Wouldn't that mean even if we were like scrubby, we would win regardless under that condition? I don't know what you mean, guy. Well, I don't know about that. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations. I freely admit that much is at least an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I have prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before. What's going on? What was he going to say before? Oh, was he going to say something different? I never opened the history. Oh yeah, he was going to say, well, never mind. Okay. I don't know. Hopefully he doesn't end up dead somewhere. It's hard to say. Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned? Don't tell me. It's a murder. And the trial starts in 10 minutes. You have jokes, Ryunosuke. Unless he actually says that. Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming, or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different. Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind? That is to say, no one has died. As yet. And the trial will not be today. There's plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. Oh, we do some on-the-scene investigations. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise. So that's probably why we had a lot of different, like, images for the opening of this case. So the trial's tomorrow then. I mean, you get a day. At least that's better than nothing. At least that's better than 10 minutes. We can't complain about that. We could do a little investigation. That's better than nothing. Is everything alright? Oh, yes. I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was... Wow, that was just yesterday? Well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilded's trial. Ah, yes. I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. Similarity? Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for the defense. Oh, if the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. I mean, there is a chance that someone may come to their aid, correct? And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome. The most terrible end awaits the defendant. Yes, that's right. Here we go again. Reminds me of that GTA meme. Your time is up. You will have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. Can you teach me how to make a snappy sound like that with cloth gloves on? After all, the clock is ever ticking. Okay, Mr. White Rabbit. He has to be like a portrayal of the White Rabbit. There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits. Last time he mentioned the 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time. And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you. Oh, what's that? Yesterday, you remarked upon something. That you intend to see through the will of your last compatriot, Mr. Asogi. We're not going to forget Asogi. I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds. Oh well. Kazuma always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world worked, so he could change ours in Japan. That ticking sound. Now that he's gone, I like to work towards that myself. And there's another thing. Oh! Another thing. Continue. On the way here on the steamship, he said something to me. There's something very important that I have to do. Something very important. And what exactly would that be? He never had a chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he'd ever made it to Great Britain. You're out of time. Well, thank you for an enlightening discussion. Was it enlightening? I feel like we probably spun you more so in circles than gave you any actual information. Mr. Naruhodo, what's all this about? Mr. Asogi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me. Well, I mean, I was his best friend, so sorry, he didn't actually confide in you that deeply and profoundly. I urge you both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand. I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. Hey, it's the same inspector from, the Omnibus fire incident. He'll be able to appraise you of the details. How long has he been there? I don't know, he reminds me of an inspector from, like, Professor Layton or something. So I wish you the best of luck, and bid you farewell. There's something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what did you mean? I wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we had better talk to the detective, don't you think? Yes, you're right. I hope I'm just imagining it, but I want to say he looks pleased to see us at all. Are those French fries? Oh, I can't do anything else but examine. Lovely. Alright, Mr. French fry guy. Could we trouble you?
What do you think?
Lovely weather, isn't it?
What's the weather got to do with anything? Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some frippery about the weather doesn't get every English gent eaten out of your hand, you know.
But Susato-san told me it was foolproof.
I'm a busy man.
I'm a very busy man. You're eating French fries. Like a crazy person.
There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here having to give the likes of you a talking to.
Oh, I'm ever so sorry.
Can you imagine what the other officers there would be saying? Haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. And all because of some bumpkin who's here on a jaunt from a country I've never even heard of.
Well, speak your truth, sir.
Hear that ripping sound? That's my reputation at the yard going to tatters.
Yeesh. There's no need to rip us apart as well.
I don't believe we've been introduced. This is me, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer.
Eh?
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Sue.
Eh?
It's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it?
It is unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine.
Unbelievable. How did she pull that off?
So, Lord Strongheart has asked me to fill you in on the case. The name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard.
I always like the name Tobias.
Gregson, Inspector Gregson.
I never met or know Tobias though. What's the matter with Susato-san? Does this detective's name mean something to her? She knows everything. Like, everything is literally listed in her little book, so I wouldn't be shocked. Okay, Inspector, shoot us with your best shot.
Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson?
She knows everyone. You're acting like you know this man, Miss Susato. But he's a London detective.
Oh, I do know him very well, in fact.
Very well?
Yes, he features prominently in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, in that publication. What's it called again? Rant's magazine?
That's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderful friendly rivalry.
Really? You rival the great Mr. Sholmes? That's incredible.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like myself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time.
Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of a bad lot of all the Scotland Yarders. Those were his own words.
That's his highest praise?
Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see.
That he is not. Thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over London town now.
That's great, isn't it?
I'll have to admit that to start with, I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand. My reputation at the yard went through the roof.
Well, that's wonderful.
No, it is not. There's nothing more sinister than a man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under their breath, I'm sure.
Rumors?
Are you quite sure?
He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. The fame's gone to his head. Stuff like that.
Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you?
Like I said, they whisper, so I can't catch exactly what they're saying, but I know what folks are like.
So you're just making this up? I'm sure that's what they're saying. You're making it up. As sure as eggs is eggs. Oh, man. I get the feeling this detective could be very hard work.
Oh dear.
Perhaps the sunrise to fame does change people. The case. That was a long, lengthy talk about this guy, and we still learned nothing. So, about the case that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before.
Nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned, at the yard, it couldn't be simpler.
Oh dear. That probably means that as far as we're concerned, as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated.
I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right.
A young woman was walking along the pavement on Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in hospital, unconscious.
That's despicable. Was it a coward would attack the poor woman from behind?
I suppose you would have finished whoever was off with a suicidal takedown, wouldn't you?
That is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo.
Brace yourself, Ryunosuke. You've angered her now.
Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. He barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest.
So there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit.
Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question.
Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one.
Sorry?
There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now.
Why ever not?
Simple. The prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Baroque von Zeeks.
No! No, he says. Oh, come on. Von Zeeks is not as bad as Edgeworth. Even on his bed, it's like, I mean, yeah, sure, he has like this presence and aura about him, but it's not that bad.
Sounds like you've heard of him then.
Oh, yes. We are very familiar with Lord von Zeeks. Believed to be the harbinger of death itself. The Reaper of the Bailey.
Lord Baroque von Zeeks, who we faced in court only yesterday.
Mr. McGilded told us about him before the trial, didn't he?
When von Zeeks stands for the prosecution, they call the accused the Sacrificial Lambs. Let's see him slam his leg on the desk again. I need that in my life. And in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. This Reaper of the Bailey nickname, I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty. Is that it?
Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector, that in yesterday's trial against Lord von Zeeks, Mr. Naruhodo secured a verdict of not guilty.
And what of it?
Oh? Well, I think. That means that even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant.
No, you really don't have a clue, do you?
What do you mean? I don't like how pessimistic you're being.
What happened to that bloke in the end? Eh? He's dead.
Ah!
Magnus McGilded came a cropper in that omnibus when it went up in flames.
Why was he in there anyway? Is what we need to be asking ourselves.
So you can't rightly say you saved the defendant, can you?
That's just, I wouldn't say hyperbole, but I mean, dude, look. We literally secured a not guilty verdict. Never once did we say, well, maybe they said saved, but it's kind of like we did what we set out to do. Even though I have complete doubt about the not guilty verdict even now at this point. But we did what we set out to do. What happened to him after that is out of our hands. So what if he was the one that got stabbed in the back just now? Like, I mean, it's a new day, but would you say the same thing? What are you saying?
Look, if Von Zeeks could get the death to stick on everyone, he'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles, he works magic. Black magic.
Is he hinting towards Von Zeeks killing McGilded? Now that I did not see coming.
I'd have a good long think about that if I were you.
Are we really supposed to believe that? Is he implying that Von Zeeks is the one that killed McGilded? That's what it sounds like. But Von Zeeks was out in the hallway when they showed him.
Right, well, I filled you in as requested and I'm very nearly out of chips. So I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We're still carrying out a few investigations there.
It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place?
That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cells, you can meet the criminal himself.
You've branded him a criminal already?
He's as good as, shaking like a leaf in his cell he is. He'll give you a chuckle if nothing else.
I can't wait to see this guy.
He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer and he'll show you the way.
Inmate 53. Thank you. Okay. This was a long introduction, so there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say.
Is something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo? To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down.
That takes courage too. But if the man they've arrested is innocent, you could well imagine he would be shaking like a leaf in his cell. And I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that funny. So, if I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. And I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. But I'd like to try. So I think I'm going to make some inquiries. Will you help?
Did you really think you had to ask? After all, I am your judicial assistant.
Thank you. So then, shall we?
Yes, let's go.
Okay. With that said, I think I'm going to have to wind... Ooh, we have 2 places to visit. I really want to go to the prison. But I think I'm going to end it here. It's 41 minutes in. I know. It was such a long beginning. And it's like we didn't make any progress at all. So, for that, I do apologize. I did a little bit too much talking at certain points, I think. But with that said, we do have a new case. We do have places to visit in the next episode. So, we can look forward to that at least, right? I mean, it's not all wasted. And until next time, I hope you all have a great and wonderful day. Thanks so much for sticking around. I did want to start asking questions like, what video game are you guys looking forward to the most? For me personally, I would have to say Xenoblade 3. I have not finished Xenoblade 2, so that's probably like blasphemy to even want 3 when I'm still working on 2. I've been working on 2 in my free time outside of like doing recording and all that stuff. I made a lot of progress during that time in which I was not recording at all. And I want to say that I am fairly close to New Game Plus territory at this point. So even though I didn't finish it, I'm close enough to the dang end of the game that I felt like, yeah, I could look forward to Xenoblade 3. So what are you guys looking forward to? And you can leave that in the comments if you wish below. I just thought that maybe I should start doing something a little bit different. But until next time, I hope you all have a great and wonderful day. Thanks so much for stopping by. Bye.